Morning to everybody out there. Africans Online Network from our studios here in Germany. We are happy to be with you today, the 16th day of February 2017. Our host Nwachukwu Emmanuel from our studio. Today is another happy day as always. Thank God Almighty for giving us the ability to be alive today. As much as we are grateful to God, also thank all our friends, neighbors, families that have made our day so. African Online Network, a place to be. A network that makes all differences. Welcome to Africans Online, the ideal place for you, African, Asia, being from Europe, being from America, Australia, and all other unknown parts of the world. Wherever you are, we salute you. Say, may the love of Almighty be with us in the. We do this because Africans Online realize the fact that we are living in the days of the end. We know people might have doubt because there have been a lot of predictions, time without number, that has never come to fulfillment. That does not justify the fact for us to believe that inasmuch as the world has a beginning, there is not going to be an end to it. Today, as always, we must have to give thanks and praise to God Almighty, who made it possible for this world to be in the. This morning, we are going to go into review updates we are living, especially Biafran people who are struggling. As you know, we have discussed time without number in our broadcast here for their freedom. People being marginalized in the eastern part of Nigeria. We know that the story about these people are also being downplayed in the mainstream media around the world. About a few who are struggling, a few news outlets that are struggling to be popular and to be one of the most outbosses are the ones trying to pick up the news. We also know there are reasons for doing that because they want to show also the show of strength in information. This is a way to uplift their own networks. But those like CNN, BBC, who are the main outlets, so visual, so upstanding, so outspoken, loud, clear to the world, they refuse to present the Biafran struggle, the atrocities that are being committed in this part of Nigeria is being subdued by the international community, both in their so many structures, governmental structures. They give a deaf ear to the death that is occurring, the millions of people, thousands of people. If you count them since the new era of the Biafran vision, which started about 20 years ago now, they have died in their millions. Again, since after the 1967 to 70 war, Biafran people have again, people who died in cause as a result of this very struggle since the time 20 years back, Wazirike Chief Raphael Wazirike found a new vision that was also supported by the bread winner of the very first struggle, Odumegwu Ojukwu himself. That time, 20 years ago, 99 up to date, about 1 million people from this very eastern region of Nigeria has died in the course of the struggle of this very freedom again. And mind you, these deaths are not just, some of them are in a very horrific way, in an unspeakable manner. Most of our people died in ways that is not justifiable, not human at all, but the international community gives a deaf ear to that. But we must not also relent our own efforts to disseminate our own news and information. Tell ourselves the truth, first of all, is where we have to start from. We also recognize the fact that there are a lot of betrayal, a lot of atrocities that are being committed within the struggle by ours very self, our own hands. Most of all, where the problem lies is from the foundation, which are the leaders of these very struggles. We have our own problems inward. We must really need to understand that we have to rectify this problem as much as we can. We know that nothing can be 100%, but saying that will not deter us from making efforts to get as close as possible. In as much as today we recognize the fact that as far as we have gone, it's not as good as possible. The foundation of the Biafran struggle have absolutely been shattered. But the strength, the motivation is still built within the people themselves who are followers to all these leaders. But if this foundation is scattered everywhere, there is no stone, really big stone, to stand as the pillar. This is as a result of self-deceit, personal ego, that are deep-rooted within the mentality, vision of those who call themselves the leaders. They have given way to a culture of breeding other leaders. Anybody who finds himself capable of recruiting up to 100 men qualifies themselves as leaders. This is what has actually become the norm in the struggle of Biafra. You belong to a group and you become recognized in that group because you have a prominent leader before you, and you believe in him and start to make waves and make your own name that people from the group start to understand and also believe in you. One day they cut out, they become their own leaders. That is why we are seeing now a system where we have difference in understanding, belief, strategy, ideology to the struggle. A lot of groups coming out, becoming foundations of the struggle, thereby having so many foundations with so many followers that are not capable enough to become a pillar. We are happy. There is another brother of ours, Benjamin Onwuka, who also is fighting desperately in his own vision, in his own understanding, to his own likeness for the Biafran freedom, that was arrested and imprisoned 3 years ago. About 2-3 days ago, he was released from prison. We are happy for that information. We are asking that God give him the grace and the ability, the repentance in whichever way he had gone wrong, in whatever way that might happen, as we understood that at the time of his arrest, the incident had to take some lives. We are completely not happy, and we are completely not in support of any incident that we come down to a loss of life, no matter how many. Simple injuries are not welcomed to our organization's ideology, to what we believe in. Because if you believe in the law of God, in the love of God, in the peace of God, where dwells the wisdom of creation, it has to do with pure peace. Now we are going to read some updates with our automatic voice reader, and they explain to our own understanding. Also, we are going to get response where the people respond to their tweets, because these are informations and updates coming to us via WhatsApp and Twitter. We review it. We allow you also to think about what other people find as their response. Now we start first of all with this. We are not revealing names of people who send this WhatsApp messages, and we are also not going to reveal those who responded the way they do. Some response are positive, some are dirty, some are nasty, some are negative, but we will expatiate both on the message themselves and the response. Here we go.
PLS read and share for the purpose of educating others. I am not the author of this post about Hijra, but I made some minor edits. What is Hijra? We understand far too little about Muslims leaving their homes. What is Hijra? Obama is well educated in the Muslim religion.
He's talking about Hajj here. The machine is reading it a little bit wrongly, or the spelling of it on the board here as we put it in the machine is not quite correct, but it's about Hajj. So let's go on.
Since he studied it while living in Indonesia. He does not want this email to be spread all over the US because he wants us to be totally ignorant of what is really going on with the ISIL movement. All this turmoil now makes sense. Sad, and doesn't bode well for us at all. So what is a Hijra? Hijra is when large-scale mass migrations become invasions. What is happening in parts of Europe right now actually appears to be a Hijra as the Quran describes it. This is not going to end well, because it appears the policies of the liberal socialist leaders in Europe and the US do not want to keep their lands from being overrun. Why? I couldn't figure out why other Arab countries, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Oman, etc., weren't taking in refugees, so I started digging. Hijra is jihad by emigration. It means moving to a new land in order to bring Islam there, and is considered in Islam to be a holy and revered action. And whoever emigrates for the cause of Allah will find on the earth many locations in abundance, and whoever leaves his home as an emigrant to Allah and his messenger and then death overtakes him, his reward has already become incumbent upon Allah. Surah 4:100. So, if a Muslim dies in the process of immigrating to another country, that's essentially the same as being a suicide bomber. His reward is automatic. This explains the great eagerness to undertake such a perilous journey. Muhammad and his followers emigrated from Mecca to Yathrib/Medina in 622 CE. It was there that he became a military leader, though still uneducated. This is where all the commands to commit violence against unbelievers originated. It's important to note that the Islamic calendar marks this as the beginning of Islam. This current massive hijrah was announced last January, although few Muslim countries paid the announcement much attention. A supporter, or member, of ISIS uploaded a document in Arabic that urged Muslims to get to Libya because of its proximity to southern Europe and for the important tactical value of its illegal immigration circuits to facilitate infiltration of European cities. Libya has a long coast and looks upon the southernmost countries of Western European, which can be reached with ease by even a rudimentary boat. In February, transcripts of telephone intercepts published in Italy said ISIS was threatening to send 500,000 migrants as a psychological weapon against Europe. The Italian Minister for the Interior, Angelino Alfano, said at the time, "If the militias of the Caliphate advance faster than the decisions of the international community, how can we put out the fire in Libya and stem the migration flows? We are at risk of an exodus without precedent." Also in February, the Turkish intelligence service warned police that up to 3,000 trained jihadists were seeking to cross into Turkey from Syria and Iraq and then travel through Bulgaria and Hungary into Western Europe and then into the rest of Europe. Sound familiar? In May, a Libyan government advisor warned that Islamic State operatives were being smuggled to Europe in migrant boats. ISIS is profiting from the human trafficking trade, forcing boat owners to hand over their profits or be killed. Some ISIS operatives are already sheltered in safe houses in the south of Europe. Groups of men, 17 to 25, from Palestine and Syria, cross into Bulgaria and from there move into the rest of the EU. A former Al-Qaeda double agent told the BBC that he knew of 2 Egyptian brothers who reached Italy from Libya, accompanied by men who were deeply religious and fluent in Italian and French. Go watch the videos of those refugees again. How many of the refugees are 17 to 25-year-old men and of military age? If that doesn't convince you, we already know terrorists are coming through with the waves of refugees. A week ago 5 men were arrested attempting to cross the Bulgarian-Macedonian border with Islamic State propaganda, specific jihadists' prayers, and decapitation videos on their phones. They had been posing as refugees. UK Independence Party leader Nigel Farage warned, "I fear we face a direct threat to our civilization if we allow large numbers of people from that war-torn region into Europe." Other Muslim countries are not taking in these refugees because this is a hijrah into Europe. This is no humanitarian crisis. It is an invasion. Its goal is to transform Europe, overtax its economies, tear down its wealthiest nations, redraw the demographics.
Yeah, this is a wonderful write-up there I received on WhatsApp also from a group, from a friend, a brother, somebody living somewhere around the world, but it's very good right up there about what is going on around the world right now. We have to put in our own take to it as Africans Online. I would say there's a very key point to the write-up. You can take out or take away whatever aspect of that very information you wish that you like. But there is a key point argument there where he says, why are the Saudi Arabia, the Qatars, all these other Arabic nations by all these people, why are they not taking in the refugees? Yeah, it's something to really question, and I have asked that question. I have thought about it in the sense these people are coming from a Muslim country. They have their belief system in their religion, their religious belief match with those in these other Arab nations. And I ask, why are they not in better hands? They go the other way to the people who have the same culture, the same religious belief, the same language with them, almost. Some of them Arabic, they know it all over. So why is it not these people even who are willing to take in their own brothers? Then you ask it the other way around. If these people are not going, they are not willing to go to their brothers, why are their brothers not willing to take them in? Then you have to revise also that question to ask, why are these people willing to come into the Western world instead of going to the Arab world? Then you might find yourself answering that question in a biased manner by saying, according to the write-up also here, we have seen what the migration means to their religion. It's, as described here, is just as similar as if you are in the course of this very migration and you die in a foreign land, you are just as good as automatically approving. Okay, if you answer it that way, well, it's one point to look at it that way, but now you ask yourself, why then are the people in the Western world eager to receive these people when they know they are not of the same belief, of the same culture, might not understand the language so easily? There have to be a lot of integration going on there, and the change of mentality, a lot of and religion, so to say, a lot of things we know that might not be easy to do. Then why are the Western world just comfortably receiving these people who don't have similarities and not questioning why they are not going to their brothers? Then you find yourself, if you ask that question, bias also, you can answer because of human right. But have you finally sat down and asked yourself, why are those people running away from their own land? Why should they run to be thinking about running to the Western world instead of the Arab world? And why is the Arab world rejecting them and the Western world accepting them? Now, the logic, first of all, why did they leave their land? Which people came as saviors and disorganized, disarrayed, that they had to run away? It's not the Arabs that went to save Syria, like we might like to say. We don't say that invaded because we don't want to use a dirty word to us. Let's say the Western world are the ones trying to save Iraq They are the ones who tried to save Afghanistan. They are the ones who tried to save Syria. They are the ones who tried to save Libya. They are the ones who are trying to save people of these places from. Okay, another questions come. From what are they trying to save these people? They are trying to save them from themselves, from their own people, from people who believe in the same thing, in the same religion, in the same culture. Then you start to ask yourself, why then is it not these Arab nations that believe in the same religion, in the same culture, trying to save their brothers from other of their brothers who are misleading and misusing, mistreating the name of their religion? Now, it's ironic because we are trying to look at this thing sometime from the point of view that has been distributed and the propagandas that have been manipulated upon us. But sometimes you really need to leave that very pot, start to think about it all. Why should the Western world be the savior of all these places that has gone demolished, brutalized? Why, if these areas, these nations were being brutalized by themselves, by their own brothers, their own cultural believers, religious beliefs together, all of them abandoned, if they are being destroyed, and there are some other part of this very religion, culture, and everything that have similarities that are also great nations, rich nations, and the peaceful nations that understood the reality of the religion, why shouldn't it be the Muslims to worry about their religion being the one infiltrated in the first place? Now, I'm telling you, the blame lies on each and every one of them. And now you will see the connection of the blame line of each and every one of them is because they are using people to make their medicine for money. That's what it means. The Europeans are so eager, the Western world are so eager to capture these people and call it humanity because they need working force. They are so eager to go and say, we want to save your land from your brothers because they are looking for opportunities. Then when these lands become destroyed, you ask Saudi Arabia to accept, you ask Dubai to accept the people they did not put into disarray. You ask the questions, why Dubai, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and all these Arab nations are not taking in? Well, some of them are doing, but why is the rush not is towards that very direction for these other Arab brothers of theirs who are in a lockup? So you see, there is blame to go around. Now, because of the so-called human right, we have to accept people because they are being killed, they are being suppressed, they are living in danger, which we have seen how the danger come about because you want to take them in because of the human right, the law, the humanity. Then taking them in now results to risking your own people that that's supposed to be your first concern. Now the president, it has come to a time when somebody says, my country first, it becomes a sign of racism, bigotry. They bring out all those their heavy words because somebody says country first. That is what it should be. We know that in every home you think about my family first before you can think about someone else's family. My people says in our own dialect, you say it in your English language, we know that it said charity begins at home. So when somebody says my country first, he's actually referring to what we know is the rightful sense of action. Language, we know that it said charity begins. So that is what we are saying here. It is a fact. So that is about that. The Muslims should be concerned about their religion. They are the ones by right who are supposed to be much more angry that some set of, if they believe it so, if they really are angry about what the ISIS, the Al-Qaeda, the Al-Shabaab, the Boko Haram, all these terrorist organizations like we like to know them or call them today to be because of their actions, who are the best ones to be so much angry for using? They try to say that radical Islamic is not Muslim. But we know that they quote from the Quran. We know they say it's like somebody using your name. In one way or the other to do evil. What do? You defend your name. It's the right thing to do. It's for you to care about your name. Even if you know that this person is using your name unauthorized, then it is your right. If that person is misusing your name, spoiling your name, robbing your name to the mud, it's you to stand up and let people know that this is not how you are. You are the person who is supposed to be willing and eager to crush these people. I don't know why it's the West that are so much concentrated on crushing ISIS, while the people that they are molesting, their religion, they are so, if they have so much anger on people who disbelieve what they believe, or if moderate, I'm talking about the moderate Muslims, we know that they have so much anger. Also, if you offend the name of Muhammad, even if they don't believe in killing or what people who might go extreme would like to do, but they also have the very big feelings. So why don't they have such animosity to people, a set of people who use falsehood, who use misinterpretation to infiltrate their religion up to the extent of killing people, giving their religion a very nasty name, robbing their religion to mud? They are the ones, the Saudis are the ones who are supposed to be angry and go after these people. I can understand the fact or the answer to the question, they are not willing to receive them. Because in the first place, they are not the nation that disorganized them, or they are supposed to be. To make peace, Maybe they will not do it the way the Western world is doing it. Maybe they have their own cordial way that is going to be more effective because they will be interacting with people who have almost a similarity or who reads from their own very booklet, and they can be able to face them. Then, if they really overpower them, the Western world will know and understand when they will ask for help. That could have been the way to go about it. But today, because the Western world are so greedy, that they use every opportunity, every reason to look for opportunities. That is why they are the people who have gone into all these nations to help. And unfortunately, the help has turned to catastrophe. Then they will also be the ones to welcome, they open their hands broadly to welcome these people that will later result to complete chaos. Chaos in the sense that you can no longer be able to protect the people that you are really meant to protect. So that is what is going on now. So when we leave that, we also go to another news we are following. This is about the Biafra movement, like we said. Brother who have been locked up for about 3 years now. One of the so many Biafran groups that are out there. His name is Benjamin Onwuka. Out, and we are happy for his release, but we couldn't help also to inform you that there is a breaking point also in this very news. We will read to you what he declared after he was released and what people are saying about it.
Breaking. I will declare Biafra on March 15. BZF leader, Benjamin Onwuka, barely 24 hours after he was released from prison, the leader of the Biafra Zionist Federation, BZF, BAR. Benjamin Onwuka has vowed to restore the Republic of Biafra by March 15, 2017. Onwuka had 3 years ago stormed the Enugu broadcasting service with intention to make a live broadcast, in order to declare Biafra. But midway, security operatives acting on a tip-off, stormed the broadcast station and rounded up 12 of the BZF members, including Onwuka. He was, thereby, incarcerated for 3 years. However, few hours after regaining his freedom, Onwuka, exuding much confidence, told journalists at a press briefing in Enugu on Tuesday that there was no going back on Biafra. He stressed that the reenactment of Biafra independence stemmed from the diplomatic relations his group, the BZF, had established with America, the Great Britain and some other world powers. The state of Biafra will be announced on March 15, 2017 by the Zionist Federation. Ike Benjamin Onwuka will be leading Biafra. I will be the president of Biafra. The work we have done underground permits that America will endorse the independent state of Biafra in March 15, 2017. We expect that this will come with the endorsement of President Donald Trump, he stated. Onwuka further claimed that ex-President Barack Obama of the United States of America approved the policy for an independent state of Biafra on October 15, 2014, and also garnered support for Biafra from Great Britain, France, Israel, Russia, and some other world powers. He said it was incumbent on President Donald Trump to implement the action since a sitting president in America usually do not ignore foreign policies established by their predecessors. My confidence on President Donald Trump endorsing the restoration of an independent state of Biafra hinges on the fact that ex-President Barack Obama made the approval. Since 2015, Biafra has been accepted worldwide due to diplomatic groundwork. Without America's support, there will be no Biafra. Now that we have gotten America's support, Biafra independence is realizable. Attributed the failure to realize the Biafra project in 1967 by the late Biafra leader, Dim Emeka Odumegwu Ojukwu, to lack of diplomatic relations with world powers. On the perceived friction among the various pro-Biafra groups, he said, there will never be a day when all the pro-Biafra groups will agree on every issue, but the Zionists have taken the upper hand because we established diplomatic ties with America, Great Britain, and other world powers. The Massob, the IPOB, and others are under the Zionists. The IPOB, for instance, has never gone beyond River Niger. All that Nnamdi Kanu is doing is to be insulting everybody through his radio. He is not even sparing America and Britain. So, you can even see that his actions are inimical to the Biafra dream. The mistake our leaders made in 1967 was based on the fact that they failed to establish diplomatic relations with Russia, America, and Great Britain. Nnamdi Kanu is still towing the same line. Onwuka disclosed that the new Biafra territory stretched beyond Southeast Zone and Niger Delta regions to include Kaji, Benue, Nasarawa states, and many tribes in the Middle Belt. Also the maligned and maltreated people of southern Kaduna, several enclaves within the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Abuja, including Seme border in Lagos State to parts of Cameroon are part of us, he claimed. It is going to be a Biafra nation for all. The Igbo tribe will not dominate the Aja or Igala tribe. There will be no discrimination. It will be a government of all. No person or region will have an upper hand. There will be free press. It is the bedrock of democracy. All those who died in the struggle will not be forgotten. Those who laid down their lives in the Biafra struggle paid the highest price. We would look for their families and take care of them, Onwuka stated.
That is a statement there released by our brother who just came out from detention or from stating his own stance. There is no going back on the Biafran issue. And as far as saying so many other things that so much reflects to what we are saying is part of the problems struggle has. Ego problem. I am the best problem. That very IQ of what I have put up there is the best and must be followed. Him stating that every other group is under them. He had put up an argument of why the first Biafra war was a failure, and also putting up the argument on why others, even Nnamdi Kanu, who is today known to be the forerunner of the struggle, also towing the same line of failure that or mistake made by Ojukwu in those days by not having international relations. We know we hear a lot of Biafran groups out there, the Lower Niger, the Emeke Siri, as being political movement. We know the court case. We know the relationships and the meetings with the United Nations, and also the ECOMOC and all this ECOWAX and all this, I don't know, all these other international relationships going on. We know that most of these groups are claiming that they have this diplomatic and there's a lot of doubt about how solid these relations are. That is the main point of discussion. That is a very big case where all of us really need to understand. We understand there are some tangible movements going on between our people with international organizations in one way or the other. But a direct leverage, a direct discussion, lobbying of countries to understand face to face, this is what we are looking for and this is what we are fighting for. Like Benjamin is saying here, is relating to talking with these people one-on-one and really hell-bent on describing exactly what you are looking for. There is no such discussion. If there are such discussions going on, we know they are in their very minute or in the very beginning processes. That is exactly a point there he's making. But the idea of saying, that is why it was played slowly there, that he is going to be the president of Biafra. It's that idea of understanding the mentality that is governing all these other leaders. We should be proud of this guy coming up openly also to declare what he's fighting for and what he wishes to become when he gets what he wants and why he's fighting the way he's fighting. That means with the mentality, you can understand that if he wants to become the president of Biafra, that means it's only everybody behind him. He's going to lead that goal. Yeah, there is somebody who has come up. But mind you, this very notion or this very ideology, this very mentality that Benjamin has and is showing openly is also the same most of these leaders have, but are not showing openly. Now we have to ask ourselves a question here. Who is the best among all of them? Not in the best that we should pick them up, because now it's understandably okay for us to know that their intentions are not real straightforward. You have a notion that you want to be the president. That is why even if you are, instead of that not going to happen, then there will be no Biafra. That's what you're saying. If your own mission will not accomplish Biafra, then you are not going to approve of it. You are going to even do anything like we have been seeing happening now. You are going to even fight against it. Mind you, most of the people who have come out to say, I'm just trying to give you Biafra, I'm not going to seek any position there, are the people who have openly and indirectly, sometimes hiddenly also tackled what other leaders are doing just because they don't want any other person to become the hero. But then you start to think about what is inside their mentality, inside their mind. Come. Just because they are not saying it out, just like Benjamin is doing, doesn't mean that is not what is in their mind, what their intentions are. I am betting you 100% that it might even be easier for Benjamin to give up that position than most of these people who are not voicing it out. We better be careful about that. Now we are going to go on to the replies of some of the people. We don't mention names of who wrote the replies. We try to edit that out, but mind you, these replies are coming from people who are responding to this very statement now that was made by Benjamin Onwuka. Let's start by the replies that followed the statement.
Lys Ben Onwuka is not a barrister. He was repatriated from London because of fraud. He did not complete his law training in London and cannot enter London again in his life. Goggle him and confirm. You don't bring out basin for every rain that falls.
This is a reply from my blogger. He said Benjamin Onwuka is not a barrister. He was repatriated from London because of fraud. He did not complete his law training in London and cannot enter London again. In this life, Google him and confirm. You don't bring out basin for every rain that falls. Now, this is a reply from a brother. The issue of Benjamin Onwuka, his efforts, his ideology, what he has done so far, has nothing to do with whether he's a barrister or not. In this very reply here. He was repatriated from London because of fraud. Also doesn't mean that he cannot fight for our freedom with good intentions. And if we cannot enter into London again in this life, because Biafra has not come, according to his own reality, if he becomes the president of Biafra tomorrow, he can enter, I bet you he can enter into London again. No matter whatever it is. We know about the Indian president, prime minister or president right now, Modi. He was completely banned from entering into the United States. The system changed. Everything was lifted. Anyway, what really counts here is the ideology, and not only the ideology, the how far have been really done by what he explained, having contact relationship with United States, with Britain, with Russia, with so many other nations, like he said there. If this, have we really, before we make comments, we don't know how far. Maybe some people will say they know, and some people will say it's just one of those boasts of our people. That is just one of those things we're saying, that right now, if somebody who made this kind of gesture, this kind of boast, and believes in what he's saying, like so many other leaders, is wrong, has no such connection or relationships, how far then can we believe what we are hearing about the contacts and relationship going on based on the referendum the Lower Niger is talking about. The only thing we know going on, or we see how visible they are, the plans, how far they have gone, is the relationship between the Belier and the United Nations. We know the parts and we know the purpose so far of that relationship. We know it has to do a lot with the NGO aspect of it that has not much digged into revealing their client Biafra to the United Nations. But also we know that there is another relationship between the Belier again and the Nigerian government being the court in case. These are very visible developments out there. So you will be considering with what you know. Forget about those ones who are saying we are doing, we have done, that are all in underground works. We know there are a lot of underground works to be done. Also, don't fool us around with saying, this thing is supposed not to all come out in the open. No, we know it. And we also know that when you are building an underground plant, that is the substance that is going to be surfacing, while the underground remains hidden. And if Emeka Esiri has come up with such combinations of actions from the United Nations, no matter how small, no matter how irrelevant, it has proven to uplift the Biafran struggle. So many people will argue. We also know the relevancy of being attached. One day, if they have not started arguing based on Biafra, one day something will happen. That's the fact. So, if there is this visibility, now he's also coming up with trying to unite the Mobin, being a Biafran political platform, with the UPP, that is a recognized and registered political platform in Nigeria, thereby bringing about a political structure to the Biafran movement. These are all visible actions that are coming from what Barrister Emeka Esiri is doing. These are all what you can read. Then you start to think about, if all these other people who doesn't have anything to show in the surface, that are so binded, I'm going to make you understand what I mean by who doesn't have anything to show in the surface. We know that a lot of people are doing a lot of things. You don't misquote me. But I mean to say, in the context of where matters, argument of freedom, you make locally and you make internationally, diplomatically. Your debates, your questions, your motions, who do you table them to? To the international community, to countries that matters, to your homeland nation that you want to be free from. Who are the people placing this argument legally and directly? That's what we're talking about here. That's the point Benjamin Omoka is making there. That's the point that I believe is a key point to achieving the struggle, relationship, international, and also your efforts in questioning and demanding from the inland country, which is the Nigerian government. What are your efforts towards that means? Now, if we come to think about what other groups are doing, we know now Nnamdi Kanu, I explained here, and they also believe that he is the symbol of the struggle in his own way. You see how all these things make meaning. Nnamdi Kanu is a face of the struggle. Where he is now, what his position is, what has happened within the course of time, all falls to that category that by the grace of God, he has otherwise turned to become the struggle, the face of the struggle, the symbol of the struggle. But mind you, the people doesn't recognize it because of how he come to his own rise. Now, he's the face, symbol, struggle, but did not have or does not have up to date any international relationship. What he had now are sympathizers who he did not approach personally. If they come, there is a limitation to the strength, to the support they can give. When somebody you are sympathizing, not that somebody approach you to help, for help. It could have been another question if there were good relationship established when Nnamdi was outside with British government, with Russian government, with American government, and the question now directed to Nigerian government if that was the cause of his, became his, the reason of his arrest, then you will see support coming from the people he have already tried to communicate with, already tried to beg for assistance. Then there will be an international outcry about his situation. That is what lacks and still lacking. There have not been able anybody or any other group who recognizes Nnamdi as the symbol. If they say they have any diplomatic or international relations, that should use it now to back up Nnamdi's resemblance. That is the point we are. That is why we are given the amount of years that is now being declared there on the blueprint to Biafran restoration. A blueprint that recognizes a period of 14 years of healing, a period of 14 years of reconciliation, a period of 14 years of mending and of our mentality, mental abilities, and also our relative ability. We know how to do things single-handedly. We have to learn now how to do things communally. That has been the problem. If there is anybody who is willing, who has these international relationships, if these international relationships that they are boasting that they have, we know also what the Lower Niger, if I should come to that, has done so far and how far they are related internationally or the strength they have internationally. We only hear about a lot of underground work going on that doesn't really represent the surface. Actually, the Lower Niger will be given credit for being the first people or the only people who have been able to ask questions within the whole region, within the whole region that comprises of the former Eastern region that we are talking about and beyond. Those also who really want to become part of what we are doing today, the new founded Biafra. Lower Niger also have a very big kickback because of their findings and the way they decide to run because of their approach. Give them credit for standing their grounds, believing on what they are believing, not using the name Biafra, but Lower Niger. But at the same time, mind you, they never rejected the name Biafra also. We give them credit for standing their grounds, although they are receiving kickbacks based on that. We acknowledge the fact of their April 2015 the meeting or conference they had in Port Harcourt that gathered all the groups, all the communities that belong to the Biafran vicinity. Gathered them. We recognize that fact of what the Lower Niger did then, but that doesn't excuse the fact that there are so many things they are doing hiddenly more than what we are seeing in the surface. Today, we recognize the fact that the Lower Niger also is putting up down a referendum to be held 2017. What we are hearing more than what we are seeing. Now, the issue is if they have this international relationship, this international accord, why not come to your senses to understand the gift of God that is shared among the leaders of the whole groups? Each one of the leaders of the whole groups is like when you have an engine of a vehicle. Some of them are the engine block. Some of them is the gearbox. Some of them are the radiator. Some of them are the kickstarters. Some of them are among so many particles you can name an engine. When people have these particles on their own, how do you wish that that engine can start if you don't couple them together? You must have to couple those engines, all those parts you have, the engine block, the gearbox, the radiator, all what this is contained within that engine component has to be coupled together to enable that engine to start. These people who say they have those international relationship like Benjamin Onka just explained, if he believes that he has the audacity or the upper hand to relate with Donald Trump, if he has related with Obama, there's every tendency that recognition will be extended. Then if he can draw back and recognize his brother, and they can pointing hand as the figure, as the symbol, because a lot of people has died behind the beliefs of this very man. That's what makes it very difficult for us to not understand signs and the hands of God on the wall. From the very time 20 years ago the new vision of Biafra was founded by Dr. Wazirike, since that very time up to now, more people died through the vision of Nnamdi Kanu than any other person. Right now, more support, more sympathy, more action, more weight lies on his head. And of course, more blood. Anybody who wants to achieve Biafra also have to bear responsibilities of this blood and recognize the man that caused it and the why, the reason, the support, the belief the people had on him or have on him, had on him before they died. Those we cry for those we great what has happened to their lives. We'll continue to share other replies, other thoughts
Another.
from other people.
Ben Onwuka should go for mental checkup. A lot happens prison.
This man says he should go to mental checkup. All he says is it means you don't believe in anything he just said. You believe he's puffing now. That's what the person wrote. He said Ben Onwuka should go to mental checkup. A lot happens in prison. I believe that maybe he has gotten a breakdown in prison, doesn't understand what is going on. And the writer does not believe that he has any of these connections whatsoever. Well, that is also a point of view that has to deal with also before you can justify Ben Onwuka or the response here. You have to know what each and every one of them knows or what they have. Ben Onwuka himself, before you make such statements, you must have known how much he knows. To people who hear this response now, before you make an alternative response to this response, you have to also know what the man who responded this way knows about Ben Onwuka himself. So that is the way it goes. We continue, we go to another response.
A lot happens prison. Another.
This is another one.
I hardly understand this Onwuka and his strategy for achieving Biafra. I would even say that Nnamdi Kanu, despite the shortcomings of his methods, is far more strategic than Onwuka. Funny enough, Onwuka claims to be a lawyer. Nobody even knew him before he attacked the Lion House Enugu. And people hard show interest while in detention because what he did never made sense to anybody. Has he learned his lessons, or could he be mentally challenged?
Some question here, whether he's mentally challenged, whether he has learned his lesson. He says nobody knew him before he went to the broadcasting house in Enugu, Biafra 3 years ago, before his this is how people get known, by doing what he did. Today you know him, but the question is, what are in the minds of the people who knew him before and the people who are beginning now to know him? What they view about the people, what they think about Ben Onwuka. Now we'll read this very statement again from this very person who wrote about his own reply to Ben Onwuka. I would like to get something out of that. Let's read it one more time and get the sense of what is in his mind writing this reply.
I hardly understand this Onwuka and his strategy for achieving Biafra. I would even say that Nnamdi Kanu, despite the shortcomings of his methods, is far more strategic than Onwuka. Funny enough, Onwuka claims to be a lawyer. Nobody even knew him before he attacked the Lion House Enugu. And people hard show interest in him while in detention because what he did never made sense to anybody. Has he learned his lessons, or could he be mentally challenged?
Yeah, you see, have he learned his lessons? Okay, let's start from, he said he hardly understood the strategy of achieving the Biafra by from this Benjamin Onwuka. You try to think about what is his strategy of achieving Biafra. What did he really do? Most people don't know what he did, or people who are listening to our broadcasts who are not Nigerians, because we broadcast to all Africans and all around the world. So now this man, Benjamin Onwuka, is a Biafran freedom fighter who has been in dictation now for 3 years. Then he came out and he made the kind of statement he made, boasting about the contact and the connections he had, which is one of the problems we have found out about the Biafran struggle. And going also deeper, he also claimed he wished to be, and he will become, if I put it in his own words, become the president of Biafra. Now I have gone along to try to specify that fact. It is not bad for him to openly tell us who he is. And so many of us will view it as not a correct statement to make, but we should not forget that most of our leaders, almost all of them, who do not say it out, have that same intention. So it is good we know who he is than to who we don't know, the people who try to swallow, who try to dodge who they are, actually, that we do worse things than this. We know such things happen. Now, he says, this very response here says that Ben claims he's a lawyer, and we have seen from the previous response that we read here, people who said that Ben Onwuka is not a lawyer, that he didn't finish his course in London and he cannot go back to London again. To our response, anyway, to our own input to what's happening here, being you don't need to be a lawyer to become a freedom fighter, or actually to be a strategist in a freedom fighting, or to be able to have that anger to say you want to be in the forefront of leading your people to freedom. You don't really need to be a lawyer to do that. So the notion of him being a lawyer or not being a lawyer, for me, I don't really get it so far. It doesn't mean you have to be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer to be wise. We know we can have wise men that will lead us to freedom without being any of these things. So to that, the issue here is the ego in the statements of our people. We talk about strategy here. We believe that if Ben Onwuka himself is following the strategy that he recommended in his statement, talking about international relationships with recognized nations, that will be a very big way. And we have also explained the people who have these relationships and the extent to which that these relationships really apply. And we also have talked about the notion of people saying they have this relationship where we know that what we see in the surface does not represent what they are telling us. They are doing some underground work. We have also tried here to expand on the expatiate on the what we are seeing. So the man who we are seeing his international contacts really in the open. If you are just joining in, you really need to go back to watch our own analysis to the people's response to what is happening on the Biafran struggle, and why we here in Africa Online is believe, and we stand by what we believe because we know that we read the best out of what is happening. When you are neutral, that is a time you can be able to have the time, the realization to think, to go far into deep, to meditate, and also pray about what you really want. Now, this response here are not very positive response that Benjamin Onwuka would like to hear from his brothers, being someone who is just coming out of the detention, being someone who wish that people support his effort this time. We know also that there are people who are sympathetic to the comment, and also to, likewise, all of us are sympathetic to and grateful for the outcome. But not everybody are sympathetic to this very comment. Some people are acting so aggressively. Some people say he's mentally retired at this point because of his time in prison. We can understand the reasoning of people, but we should be careful, because unless you know the strength of a man, the struggle of a man, unless if you disbelieve the contacts or what Benjamin is talking about, his leverage towards the fight for freedom and his contact towards all these other nations, then you can at the same time disbelieve everything that all these other people, all these other leaders are telling us also they have on the ground or underground. A lot of things we hear people are saying because of the fact we don't need to come online to disclose what your strategies are or the way we are doing it. We have explained that. We know that. You don't have to come and the place that are visible, and the only visible ones are the ones we are seeing and the ones we are counting about. It doesn't matter how long you tell us you have an underground plan that you don't want to disclose your plans. Yeah, we understand that. We don't expect you to disclose them. But mind you, whatever you are doing underground has a surface. And that is what we try to make people understand. What Benjamin Okuka is saying here is the right path to follow. But is he applying that right path? And how many people apply that right path? The path of engagement, the path of communication to the two different bodies you are supposed to work with to gain your freedom. In the sense, you need to have partners in the international community. You need to have countries that you have spoken with that support you, not ones that just have sympathy because of what is happening to you. There is a difference between a country having sympathy for what is happening to you and a country that supports you because you have approached them. That is what we are seeing now. What is really happening in the struggle of Biafra? There is a plan for referendum going on now, planned by Lower Niger. And we are working our way into the lines to find out what we know, what is happening, what is relevant, and what are the things that are not relevant at this time. We also know that a referendum 2017, although is the hope of the people, although so many people don't support of it because of the various and numerous problems with the struggle, some people trying to play down and some people trying to beat down what other groups are doing. We are seeing people, individuals in these struggles forcing themselves to belong, to accept what the other man is doing because they find it favorable because of where they are tied to, reject the fact, the notion that another person or other group will become the champions. So that's why we have the question and we are doing what we're doing. We are going to read another reply that is coming also from that very statement made by Benjamin Aonka after his release in prison. So we are going to read another statement from another brother. Know that we don't disclose names of people who are making these statements. But these statements, when they are read, people who made them, if they are listening to us, they will notice their statements. We put these things in our own confinement, but we want you to understand the feelings that is going on within the Biafran struggle. Let's go.
A lot of our people in Biafra's struggle are mentally sick. I have seen a lot of them. They keep on raising the hope of poor masses without a single plan. Unfortunately, this is the kind of people Nigeria pressmen are in love with.
Okay, this guy says, this is a short, you know all this what we're reading are short replies to a very lengthy statement released there by Benjamin Aonka after some hours after his release from prison, serving 3-year sentence in Nigerian deadly prisons. So this very reply says that a lot of our people are in this very struggle are mentally sick. Yeah, are they mentally sick before they came into the struggle, or have the struggle made them mentally sick? This is another thing again. It doesn't mean that they are mad people who chose to come into the struggle because they are mad. They don't understand what is right to do. Is that what this man is trying to say? Or is he saying because of the fact or because of their love or their emotion that some kind of sickness, when you say somebody is crazy over something, doesn't actually mean that it's mentally sick in case, you know? In case we know what we are talking about. When you say mental sick, in the various classes of mentally sick, madness, being crazy, mentally deterred, and it works in so many ways. So that is a lot of that's very kinds of standards that you can accept that a lot of people within the struggle have made them to be crazy about anything. If people have given their lives, a lot of our people have died in the struggle. We know a lot of people are jobless. A lot of people went home. A lot of people became stranded. A lot of things are happening to people, changing their lives in difficult ways because of the struggle. Not necessarily because they were impacted directly at home. Even abroad, people who are here, there is a lot of people who have given their all, who have hoped that Biafra will come before this time, but they have been completely been disappointed, and this has driven people to so many conclusions. This has driven people to so many kinds of acting that, in one way, we can say, it depends on how you look at this very statement here. A lot of people has really gone insane. In other words, so does this very statement now apply to Benjamin Naonka? Because you will understand that he is the bone of contention here. That's the man in question we are talking about now, Benjamin Naonka. Before you can hear all these statements, we know also that people from a question, from a statement, can answer now, give now a general answer to a situation. Maybe this very question also is referring to that very category, somebody trying to make a broad comment about what is going on within the struggle and these people. Wise also. So we accept, and that is why the African Online, we call on our people to mellow down and understand. That is why also God loved our people for the love of God, that He will be able to give them now a time limit. If you know this time limit, if you can be able to comprehend with this time limit, if you can be able to believe and be happy with God for this time limit, then you cannot be confused. You cannot be waiting indefinitely. Because right now it's like people are just waiting indefinitely. They are hoping for tomorrow. Tomorrow will come, they will hope for next tomorrow. It goes on to 1 month. It goes on to years. They just don't know when it will be. But the hope continues to be there. Sometimes it drives our people crazy. Also love us. He wants us to believe. That is why we here have openly shown to our people the love of God, the declaration of God, the blueprint to Biafra. It's a holy blueprint to Biafra, where everything, the time limit, how much it will take us, how we are going to react, what is happening now, everything is contained in this very 7-page. It's only a 7-page blueprint that is going to help us. It goes to say that we have a 14-year period. To some people, it is so dark, it is so annoying, it is so unbelievable, unexpectable, unacceptable to say we have a 14-year period to achieve Biafra. Wow, what a long time. But to the glory of God, it is the best time for any reasonable person that understands the condition of the world in general. You have to understand the relation of that condition of the world to the time we are living in, to the condition of Nigeria, and how the condition of Nigeria relates to the struggle we are looking for. At the same time now, you have to think about our own individual, personal, in-hood relationship between me and you and your brother, your community. What's happening all around us, within us. For all these things to work out and work out properly, for us to be a nation of peace, a nation of love, a blessed nation of the Lord Almighty. Do you think that we will emerge the same way Somalia emerged? Do you think that we will emerge the same any other nation you want to compare there emerge by roughness, by brutality, by no peace after the achievement of the freedom they so desire, that they will have no peace to accommodate themselves to live in harmony among their brothers and sisters, to be able to grow the fruit of what they have fought for their children, for generations to come? Do you think if we are really loved and really special of people of God, that we are going to be given the same treatment? No. God loves us. We know is a lot of animosity to wipe away. That is a lot of cordial relationships to build. That is a mentality to refresh among our people, among ourselves. Even internally within the struggle, we can see what is going on. How do you wish that a better Biafra, a comfortable Biafra, a God-blessed Biafra will approach, emerge from this kind of unbelievable hatred? I personally have here has received dozens of death threats, hate speech, insults, publicities. I really don't care about those things because I know what is involved. But I wonder how it will affect people who react to this kind of, because I understand my people very much. They say they don't. They believe they want to make the peace, not knowing they're putting up the fire. How on earth do we wish that all these kind of things will be washed away for us to have a clear Biafra if we expect Biafra to come tomorrow? And from who do we expect the Biafra to come from? Nnamdi Kanu, from Owazirike, or is it from Asare Dokubo? Are you talking about Tony Nnamdi? Is it the Meke City? Is it the people who call themselves the Biafrans in exile? God loves us. God don't want us to be mentally deranged because we are looking for our freedom. God don't want our people to keep dying again. We have tried our powers and we have seen what our powers have resulted to the people. We have not been able to back up our words with action. There was a time when we knew that we could go and kill the Hausa men with only 100 men. One of our great leaders told us that we only need 100 men to go and finish them in 60 days. We were told that. But today, these people that we need 100 men to finish up in 60 days are coming into our own territories. We call them the herdsmen, as if it's a different identity this time. These people we want to finish up just in 60 days with 100 people. These very people that know nothing, these very people that we accuse of weakness and stupidity, now are coming right inside our own homes. Maybe sometimes with 10 men, with AK-47, maybe sometimes with 3 men, they will drive away our villages. The next day, the WhatsApp will start to ring. The Twitters will start to shout. The Facebooks will be all over right up. They are killing our people who come and help us with the herdsmen who come into our village. And there will be pictures of dead bodies of people lying scattered all over our place. And these are the people that we are told that we could finish them with 10 men and with 100 men in 60 days. It's unfortunate that we cannot see our own mistakes, our own stupidity, our own self-pride, ego, that makes no sense. It's unfortunate if you cannot recognize that we cannot make this ourselves. There's no way. With what we have, with the people leading this struggle, it is high time we start believing that God is the only man who can, the only Almighty, sorry for that, God is the only Almighty who can save us. God is the only one who can give us a light, a way, if we believe that we are. So many of our people also, they come up with that very notion that we are the
There is only one
meaningful. So, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, we will continue our broadcast as days go by. But for now, this is just what we want to talk about. The Benjamin Onwuka issue. How you relate to it, what you want to. God be with you all. Bless you as you continue to be part of our program every day. We say we are starting officially on the 25th. So you try to be with us on that very day. We are going to have a live broadcast. On that very day, our cameras will be on for you to see us and the broadcasters on our studio live at the same time. So many visitors that will be coming in also give us